Against Nick Natanui, that celebrated matchup, and Brad Scott's bearer thought for him he's never beaten Ross Lyon as a coach. 0-6 their head-to-head record.
Friday night football, Patterson Stadium in Perth. The umpires tonight, Dalgleish, Stevick and Harris. Thump, and away we go. Goldstein coming over the top with Sandilands, knocks it down towards half forward, charging through Subban, still going. Ball just outside the 50. Mundy went to ground. Zeeble meantime to Cunnington, to Grimer. Grimer from defence up towards the wing. Gibson takes the mark. Just the defensive side of right centre wing. Kicks into the man on the mark. It ricochets off his face, I think. Hill's slow to get up, but
free kick off the footy.
Free kick off the ball is going to Ryan Crowley.
Apparently it is. One of the subplots of the game, Baz.
It is, and he's got to come and fetch his own footy. Of course, last year there was a celebrated confrontation, wasn't it, between the two of them? About 300 times I was pinched, he said to the tribunal. Ryan Crowley said I wasn't, but they didn't believe him. Surprise, surprise. Bad kick from Johnson. Del Santo to Black. Under pressure with that handball. Now Thomas swoops on the footy. Pearce got him. It was a pretty good effort, and he worried him out of the kick out of bounds on the full. So early signs, plenty of pressure on from Fremantle. That's when they play their best football, when they're in their opponents' faces. Johnson, a long ball. Sandilands came third or fourth. Good handball to Subban. He got it from Pearce. That's a flying shot from there. It's out of bounds on the full. No score.
Right next to the post. Aaron, let him
Subban looking to consolidate a place in this Dockers side. Mullet's got the footy. Goes along the line.
Hold there, Daniel.
Zeeble. Good to see him back. Short one, gave it away. Well, not so happy to see him back. Some of his teammates right there. That was a shocker. Straight to Clancy Pearce.
Bit of a shaky start from both sides, it must be said. I mean, that's a risky kick, and particularly with so many players weighing in that part of the ground.
Well, you know Fremantle are playing really well. There's already been a smother on this wing. They forced North Melbourne to kick it out on the full, and then just that zone that they set up. Very hard to go short in that area of the ground.
Clancy Pearce right behind him. Kick is on the way, and he tugs it way left. Across the line, minor score. Fremantle lead by that margin. Early going Friday night.
So Nick Del Santo with the kicking in duties and the very bright boots, it's got to be said. Commentator's dream, Tom. Not that you need the help. Here's Tippett, his first game for North Melbourne. Third opportunity in the AFL. Majak Dor up in front, couldn't mark Cunnington. Pearce has been busy. Both of them have been busy, in fact, for Fremantle. That was Daniel, 5. Working the ball forward, Pavlich, Del Santo. Cunnington gets a quick kick out of the pack towards the wing. Tough one to mark. Black did very well up in front. Junior basketballer turned AFL regular. He's played 24 straight now for North Melbourne. Gibson, little kick off to the ruckman was not good, and the opposing ruckman got in the way. Goldstein, Sandilands, and then the kick forward from Spur, free kick.
Sorry, Richard.
Yeah, guys, we can see that the big ruckman is Goldstein is already trying to push forward on big Sandilands. I think that's something they're really going to try and do tonight, North Melbourne, expose Sandilands defending.
And those boots on Del Santo wasted on a bloke we know. There goes the hand pass. Nicely done by Johnson. Sent Sutcliffe into space. Now Daniel Pearce having a good year, goes down towards half forward, reaching across and doing pretty well there was Hansen to knock it out of bounds.
Really is having a good year, Daniel Pearce. Fremantle have 3 players in the top 10 for inside 50. Stephen Hill, Daniel Pearce and Tendai Mzungu. Those boys getting plenty of the ball and thriving it forward.
Sandilands in front, hard to shift. Goldstein over the top. Gibson in front of the pack. Cunnington's kick was smothered. De Boer almost. Neal almost held without it. Now Zeeble's got him. Neal could be in trouble. No, it's going the other way. No trouble at all. Pushed in the back by Jack.
That's it. Push it out. Play on.
So they've done most of the attacking, Fremantle, and again Neal decides to go long. Pavlich flies. Big fist away from Ferrito. Clancy Pearce down. Here's Mundy. Right boot around the body, trying to bring it around. Second score of the night for Fremantle. They're 2 behinds, and North Melbourne, who haven't been inside 50, obviously, are yet to score.
And this is where Fremantle set up really well. They generally give up the first kick if it's a kick out, but then that second kick, it's the zone that they set up that is difficult.
Harvey comes. Ooh, just got there in the nick of time. Nancy Pearce bearing down. Ball comes up wide to Atley. Ferrito outside the 50. Awkward half volley, put himself under pressure. Lands on the chest of Adams. That's okay. Centering ball. Thomas has to go back. Got fingertips to it. Couldn't hang on. And now a chance. Nahas. Hand passes out wide. Gets it back. Hansen was the man who gave it to him. Slapped out wide by Nahas. Being tracked by Grimer. Grimer just waiting for the cavalry to arrive. And the cavalry was wearing purple because he wanted a helping hand over the boundary.
I know it's only very early days, but the game's being played on Fremantle's terms at the moment. They came out very aggressively. A lot of these off the ball, niggling, nothing untoward, but certainly able to set up their structures and their defensive play.
Interesting too that Joel Tippett, as we mentioned, just his first game for North Melbourne, third in AFL football. He's got the job of running with Matthew Pavlich early. They've worked the ball well here, Fremantle. Duffield eventually out to Pearce. They brought the footy broadcast side. Now, not a good kick, and it was a hard option anyway. 2-on-1 for Rito. Good kick, long, Black. Almost couldn't mark Johnson. So good on the ground when it comes to ground. A bit of a challenge here. He wasn't clean first time. Black is hurt off the ball. That's interesting. Adams now. Johnson came again. Good pressure. Well done by Bastanak. Kept it alive for North. Brilliant smother. Daniel Pearce across the boot of Petrie.
Yeah, Black's in a bit of trouble, boys. He looks like he's going to come off the ground as McFarlane tried to run into him, but definitely favouring a bit of a shoulder there on his right side, I'd say.
Boundary throw in just outside the 50 then. Goldstein backhands it down, arriving quickly. Greenwood then missed the football. Crowley has it. Cunnington descends on him. 52 metres out. Got a whistle and the umpire will toss it up.
Balls in the back there, thanks.
It's a bustling start to this game. There's Black. He was under the ball. Johnson came hard. Johnson stayed on his feet. And Black still feeling the effects. Crowley gets it from Neal. Goes back towards the goal square. Johnson, the All-Australian from last season. Across the face of goal is Sutcliffe, an emerging player from Woodville, West Torrens. Might have had a hand in that, getting him to the Dockers. Out of defence, close to the boundary line, very close. Helped across, Mzungu. And that's a good result as far as the Dockers are concerned. So it'll be a throw in. Shoulder.
Yeah.
He was very innocuous, wasn't it? He was just in the wrong place at the wrong time and took a pretty solid whack. Greenwood, well, not the ruckman in the contest, but he took the ball cleanly. Now Harvey, Crowley running with him. Well done by Brent Harvey, and the kick to Zeeble, spot on. Gives quickly to Del Santo.
Yeah, it's Majak Dor and Zach Dawson. Majak sucked into it.
There's been a couple of those free kicks already, hasn't there? We saw the one in the middle to Crowley at the start of the quarter. Another one there, and there's also a down the ground about 5 minutes into the first quarter.
The best out at Fremantle.
Fourth disposal for Daniel Pearce, and now 5 goes long down in the Pavlich direction. He's lost his man Tippett. He could have gone straight. He decides instead to make it more difficult. Talk about that for degree of difficulty. Give it to Sandy, who gives it to Neal, and finally we've got the opening goal of the night. Lachie Neal bags it.
It's felt like the game has been, well, it's obviously the first goal of the game, but it's clearly been played on Fremantle's terms at the moment. Their intensity's been there from the get-go, hasn't it, Wayne?
It has. It's been Fremantle's pressure that's been impressive. I mean, we spoke about them last week. They weren't great against Sydney. They brought their A game tonight, and it's been the undisciplined Kangaroos that have got Fremantle off to a good start.
Yep. Good lesson early for Joel Tippett to keep your feet, but must be said, quality defensive work from Atley, but then just a weight of numbers. The Fremantle pressure's been really strong to start this game, and a belated impact on the scoreboard.
Goldstein won it down decisively, getting the arms free. Zeeble gave it to Del Santo, kicks towards half forward. Nahas found himself in front of his fingertips. Neal's got it, kicks it out towards the boundary. It bounces just inside the field of play and goes out. Just moments ago with the Pav, he's old school. He believes in kicking the ball in the air, and as a result, didn't go along the ground on his left foot, as most modern players would do. Not suggesting he's dated, of course. It's tossed in. The Pav is the Pav. Bastanak, like that, see? Get it under the bodies. Neal, Mzungu. High ball down towards half forward. Hansen works in front. Off his fingertips, falls in front. Subban did brilliantly. Broke through, goes back. Look down the field, nothing but North Melbourne jumpers. In goes Gibson, feeds it across to Harvey. He enjoyed that, Harvey. I reckon he knew who was coming and decided, well, I'm going to kick this instead of waiting to be pushed out of bounds.
Just on the Jack Daw free kick before. Zach Dawson will be into him all night. He likes to try and get inside your head, Zach, and he just can't react like that, Jack. It was just totally unnecessary, threw him to ground.
Another Zach doing the ruck work. It ends up with Pearce. Daniel Pearce outside 50. Behind only.
Interesting, the last forward set up there by, defensive set up by North Melbourne. They're very keen to get numbers behind the ball, which leaves them exposed at the contest. And the games they've lost so far this year, they've been smashed at contested possessions and clearances. I think the focus should be more at the coalface.
Grimer kicking in this time, goes short to Bastanak, inside defensive 50. Not a great kick again. Zeeble caught at the back. Here's Crowley. Nahas closing the gap. It's an awkward bouncing ball back towards the 50. Adams lost his feet. Here's Hill. Pearce again, so busy to start this game. The kick, though, not spot on. And Luke McDonald dropping back into the space marks.
Left footer goes out wide. Atley arriving quickly. De Boer got into the contest and knocked it across the boundary line. Well done. That's his role. Forward pressure. Throw in just outside the 50 then. Goldstein in front. Wins this one. Mzungu sharks it though. Subban. Been taken high. No, hold to him.
Todd, just keep the meter first, okay? Be close on that one. Yeah, that's all right. Yeah,
Talking
absolutely.
about
Thanks, Nick.
distance between the two ruckmen.
It was a double falcon there, wasn't it? Sort of.
I think he knew who was coming and thought, I like this.
Deliberate, they call.
Greenwood got boot to ball. It's going to be a Kangaroos free kick down the ground. And it's going to Harvey. So Harvey and Crowley off the ball getting involved. Boomer Harvey 5 times best and fairest. And still going strong. 35. Sends it inside the forward 50. Drifting back McFarlane. Made for him. Thumps it towards the boundary. Will it stay in? Yes, it will. Along the line, McDonald knocked across by a teammate Ferrito. Boundary throwing just outside the 50.
Wayne, just looking at North Melbourne's forward structure, they've gone really tall, but on that occasion had no one there. They had no representation for the long ball in.
It wasn't a great kick, was it? McFarlane had the drop. It went to his side, and you've got to kick it to your forward's advantage. On that occasion, it wasn't.
So Zach Clark got his way up in front. Mundy's kick, as you heard, not 15. McDonald hurried it off the boot. Well done by Zeeble. He worked it out. They've got it nicely. And the long ball forward from Gibson. He got it from Greenwood. Johnson, though, superior judgment.
That's what the Kangaroos don't want. They don't want Johnson to be loose down there to put pressure on their tall forwards, the Kangaroos, because that's what he's just brilliant at, taking uncontested marks and then setting up play like this.
That kick had to be spot on to Crowley, and it was, and Mzungu's away. Kicked the first goal in the grand final last year for Fremantle. He took a couple of bounces. Mundy not paid the mark. Handballed into danger, but Clancy Pearce emerges from that danger with the football. Now Fife, Atley, interesting go this one. Fife left the footy behind. Well done. Arriving Hansen to assist. Mullet overran the football. Atley goes back. Mullet again. Kicks around the body towards the boundary line. Falling over. Interesting. Ferrito. They work it to Petrie. They got it there eventually from Greenwood. And the ball now kicked towards the wing. And Jack Daw.
Well, nobody up ahead. North have to hang on to this. Black seems to be okay. And forced to kick across the ground. Bounces obligingly for Cunnington. Steps around Clark once and then twice. Getting through McDonald. Well played. Gets it back from Goldstein. The left footer sends it long. Down towards full forward. Back goes Johnson. Spills it. Follows it. Fumbles it. Clumsy, clumsy.
And again on that occasion, Dan, it was McFarlane and Johnson both double teaming Jack Daw, just making better early defensive decisions.
I love him.
Ryan Crowley's the man they love. Yep, last time, round 13, he was fined $1,200 for pinching. He said he didn't do it.
And not by this crowd. They didn't fine him.
Running onto the football, Del Santo. Dangerous kick now inside for Petrie. Did that well. Waited for it. Trapped it on the bounce. Down towards Jack Daw up in front. Second grab. He's got the footy.
He was actually quite clever on that occasion. He turned his back on the ball and actually put a bit of body contact onto Johnson. I'm not sure whether it's completely illegal, as you see there, turn around, a little bit of pressure, probably okay, and then got himself a little bit of space and able to take it with the second bite.
Family from Sudan, of course. They fled the Sudan Civil War, 3 years in Egypt. Arrived in Australia in 2003, coming off 5 goals for Werribee. From right on the 50, it'll look likely.
Dockers by 7. Clancy Pearce. Still not a breath of wind. Subin out of the back pocket. Waited too long. Well done by Thomas. Not always his forte. The hustle. But that time getting across. Over the boot. Out of bounds it goes. Tossed in quickly. In front Johnson. Fell at his feet. Out of there Harvey trying to hack it forward. Neal. He's been industrious. Clever kick. Well, not so clever. Intended for Clark, but getting across a man with real pace. Attlee made it his. So Attlee finds himself 60 metres out. Not on the mark, just forward of the numbers. There goes the kick inside the forward 50. Little nudge came from Johnson, got rid of Dorr, and then had the good fortune to find it on the deck. Clark! Oh, that was a good grab. Zach Clark.
Stay there.
Started last year as the 4th-ranked ruckman on Fremantle's list. Quickly worked his way towards number 1. For a period there he was when Sandilands was out injured. Had a good year. His long kick from Duffield is out of bounds offhand. So interesting start to the game. North probably not that disappointed. Well, obviously not that disappointed to only be 7 points down, but Freo really have had most of the game on their terms. Del Santo, mullet. He missed the ball when he went to handball. Lockie Neal waiting for it. Fife slipped over a couple of times. Might need to look at those boots. Back to Lockie Neal. Mundy through the middle and the kick is terrific, and Pearce marks. Midway between the 50 and the square. Sandilands, well done. Mullet it was going back. The ball's still inside the field of play, and Grimer did well.
Just a couple of seconds too slow there as Ferrito slow to get up. Great courage backing into the oncoming Sandilands. Pearce just need to be a bit quicker. He had Sandilands and Tippett one out here, but great effort from Ferrito.
Yeah, Ferrito going back with courage, Wayne, and that was a terrific effort.
It was a terrific effort. Not sure you want to do that in front of Sandilands. 120 kilos bearing down on you, but he saved a goal.
Sandilands wasn't shy either. The knee was up. Kick outside the 50. Cunnington. Grimer. Oh, knocked Clark over. Clancy Pearce with dash inside the 50. Sends it down towards full forward. And Pavlich has taken the mark. 5 metres out. Was he inside the square? No, outside the square, says the umpire. So it means he has to kick it on the angle. But
he is old school, Dan. Most of them would have played on.
That's true, too. But the Pav was hoping he was inside the square. He shuffled in that direction. Games 287. And as we said before the opening bounce, getting to 300 in style. Like that. Straight through the middle. That was good work, but Pavlich, nobody near him. So obviously, I think some of the North defenders prepared to gamble, and maybe the injury to Ferrito didn't help. They were covering for each other down there, but Pavlich found himself 15 metres out in the open virtually to take the mark, and probably, as Baz suggested, could have played on. But suddenly the margin is out to 14, and North need to be careful now.
Just highlighting the intensity at the moment of Fremantle. 6 mothers to do. It's always a really good indicator in setting up a goal there for Pav. So the intent's been there from Fremantle, just now time to put it on the scoreboard.
Umpire Dalgleish, up it goes. Good bounce to Sandilands. Zeeble went to go off the ground. Adams there. Fife not slipping over this time, and Mundy gets the ball forward. Another clearance for Fremantle. Main, mullet this time. Here's Cunnington. Handball over the top. Sits obligingly for Gibson, and the kick to Zeeble is very good. So that's better from North. They've looked rushed and hurried when moving the ball off half-back. A long kick. Black back out there. That's good news for North Melbourne. Johnson mopping up at the back. He gets the footy again. Got it to Spur. Quick kick out of that pack. Crozier over the footy. Not a great handball. Hill got some work to do there. Crashing through Duffield. Hill comes again. Goldstein had him. Lost him. Fife somehow came out with a football. And wins a free kick. Maybe a little lucky.
I think the rule du jour this evening is in the back.
Favours the ball players. Nat Fife statistically is having albeit an interrupted season through the suspension, but his numbers are fantastic. Averages 18 contested possessions a game, top 3 in the comp.
Pavlich got it from Mundy. Oh, how precise is that? In behind the taller man in that contest, Atley. De Boer took the mark. That was a beautiful kick. So De Boer, 60 metres out, centres it. Sandilands in best position. Up he goes, off his fingertips, falls in front. Sandilands is going to get a free kick. High, says the umpire, so it was high indeed.
Well, he's got a real focus tonight as well to push forward big Aaron Sandilands. Early in the game, Goldstein tried to take him forward, so both ruckmen trying to get an advantage.
That's an interesting one, though, isn't it? He got the ball and very late. I mean,
it's on the way down, so technically it is a free kick, and if Aaron Sandilands leaps at the ball like that, it's going to be hard not to give a free kick away.
Everyone will get him on the way down. No statute of limitations there. It happened a while after the action, but Sandilands kicks for goal. Now, if he could take a mark, it's probably too late in his career to become a marking forward. Just think of some of the great marking forwards I've seen, deep in attack, ruckman resting or what have you. Different game then, but if he could add that to his arsenal. I offered to lend him my Bob Johnson tapes, but I don't think he thought I was serious. Bob was one of the great pack marks of all time, but I digress.
Well, as you have a look here, he leaps at its highest point. Goldstein gets his fist on the ball, but it's the follow through that gets him high. So technically the free kick was there.
So a little unlucky, but I think we agree. Consensus, the free kick was there. Goldstein better this time. Straight down to Zeeble. Wrapped up by Subin. Needs to be careful.
Went to ground, no attempt. Let him up. Stay there.
Need to hold on here, North Melbourne. A real surge from Fremantle.
Summed up by umpire Matt Stevic. Long kick now. Clancy Pearce up in front. Well done, Hansen. Couldn't mark. Ball hits the deck and then somehow out to Mullet, who left the footy behind. Fife grabs it out of nowhere and snaps a wonderful goal. Making the most of your opportunities. There was barely an opportunity there. An error through the hands. Nat Fife, right place, right time. The classy players make you pay.
It's worked his way into the game really well, Baz. He's up to the 8 disposals. High percentage of those contested. 5, in fact, clearance and a goal now. So he's working his way to a pretty productive night. Such a valuable and important, inspiring player for Freo. Just the slightest of fumbles, they'll hurt you every time deep in defence. And too much space there for Nat Fife, and he'll punish you, no doubt.
Dorr goes up and wins it down. Adams, 2 goes at it. Dorr, couple 2, gives it back to Adams. Kicks deep into attack, going back Dawson, interferes with Black. There's certainly contact there. He went back. He may have taken him high as well. Umpire Dalglish, West Australia.
You made contact. Thank you. Thanks, guys.
Clear with the explanation. And Black, who seemed to be hurt, has come back strongly. Very athletic, Aaron Black. Baz mentioned before, played some basketball. You can see that. You can see it with Scott Pendlebury too. That up fake he's got with a hand pass. That's patented. And this one's hit the post.
So a bad miss from there, really. Zach letting him know. Long kick in. Mzungu stood under the football. That was a good grab. Mullet was coming hard. He got up quickly, Mzungu. Main just struggling for touch at the moment. Beautiful roving by Harvey. Gives the footy to Cunnington. Back to Harvey. Now Adams too slow. Sandilands got him high. Got one at the other end. Gave one away there. Hard for him not to give him high, I guess. Harvey running past. Majak Door flies with the flight of the football. Here's Nahas on the ground. Has he won a free?
Thank you. Thanks. Thank you.
Yes, he has.
Cheers. Your free kick, Robin. Thank you. The mark's here.
So taken high, I think the umpire's saying.
Robin, you've got to come around, mate.
He did hit the pack with pace, which is exactly what you want from your small crumbing forwards.
How guts is Lee Adams?
Yeah. Yep. And put on the shepherd as well after receiving the free kick. Real team act, that one.
So still searching for their first goal of the night. Robin Nahas, second game for North, 100 goals in 83 at Richmond. Interesting run up. Josh Kennedy does that sort of thing here. Well, actually not anymore, he doesn't. But finally, North have got their first. And continuing to chat with umpire Dalglish, saying that he's been held for most of the night, but he did hit that pack hard. You're quite right, Wayne.
Well, that's what he's been recruited for, and Tom said that. I mean, he hit that at real pace. He has to go back and kick those goals. Already they've had a couple of chances. Black, Door have missed easy ones. Great that he went back and nailed that one.
Yeah, no doubting the free kick there being held on to, and that's exactly why he's in the side. He's had a tough start at North Melbourne after a less than glorious finish at Richmond too, so good confidence builder for
Lord charges in off the line. Bastanak, called his name too often, kneels over the football. Cunnington's got him. Came out eventually. Atley, nicely done. Bastanak kicks it down towards half forward. Petrie full-chested. Dragged down. Ball fell free. Well done, Del Santo. Over the top to Thomas. In trouble, Nahas bearing down Mzungu. The ball and player go out of bounds. Nahas a couple of good games against North. It's amazing how that works. He kicked, I think, a couple of bags of four, certainly one, and suddenly the club remembers.
Here he is playing for North. Game number 2. Cunnington worked his way to the bottom. Crozier over the top. Interesting one. Umpire in and says up it'll go.
Not too often you come to a game, Tom, and your highlight has been the team's pressure.
Yeah.
And it really has been a highlight in this first quarter. Fremantle's pressure, their smothering, tackling, and just general defensive play.
So free kick, another one for Nahas being held onto again. The umpires are hot on this one tonight.
I think there's been 4 behind the play now, Baz.
And Nahas the recipient of a couple of them, so it can be a real momentum shifter, this one. And it was against the run of play. Freo had it in their hands, were about to run away with it. Too far out, obviously strained to get the distance, and from right on the 50, just to behind.
It's a let-off for Fremantle. They've been right on top for this whole quarter, and the late goal to Nahas, that one, if he did go back and kick, would have made Rossline extremely angry.
Crozier, a dangerous kick. North had the numbers out there for Rito. Funnels it towards Cunnington. Again, another smother. Well done by Mayne, and the ball ricochets out of bounds. That hurt Mayne.
Just holding his elbow off the ball at the moment, Den. And not unlike, actually, Black, although we know that was his shoulder at the start of the term.
Siebel out of the congestion. Heard the call, touched. Down goes Clancy Pearce. Ripped away there by Crowley. Taken by Fife. Little untidy. Making amends, though, Pearce. That's Daniel Pearce to midfield. With the pace, Grimer. Will beat Clark, so that's not saying an awful lot. McDonald goes back to Hansen. Swings it out wide. Makes it easy for commentators. When they start booing, you know, Harvey's in the vicinity. Grimer back to Atley.
Atley then, tough ball, Fife, one-handed. Mzungu emerges with the footy. The handball was clever to Johnson. Now running hard for him. Spurs kick up the wing, Mayne up in front. That'll do his confidence no end of good. The arm appears to be okay. Kick not so good though. Black did well. Bursting his way through was Subin, or was it Neal? It was Neal. He goes again here. McDonald wrapped up. Footy comes out. Greenwood back to Siebel from inside the centre circles. Quick one. Here's Cunnington. 31 seconds on the clock, and Petrie marks.
50.
And gets 50.
Pushed him in the back. Let it go, Aaron. Aaron. No, I've got it right out.
So my imagination, or have some of the rules changed tonight?
That is line ball at best. That was in the for mine in the actual
marking contest. Correct. So he thought, I'll give away a free kick if he doesn't mark it, because he had a good meter on him, Tom, but
which
certainly not 50.
Yeah, agreed.
A lot made of his form and his 250th. He'll like that. His 4th goal of the season, and he gets it back to a 2-goal ball game with 19 seconds on the clock for the first term. And, well, you mentioned it a moment ago, Tom, about the late goals time on. Ross Lyon wouldn't like it, and he'll really despise that one.
That's not a 50-metre penalty. No. I mean, that is just getting to the contest in the old-fashioned way of saying making him earn it. But maybe a little bit of charity for Drew's 250th.
All of a sudden, though, the Kangaroos just starting to think their way through this Fremantle defence, making some good decisions. Zeeble had a good ball in the middle of the ground. We saw Harvey kick the ball back into the centre, so just using the ball a little bit better, thinking their way through this Fremantle defence.
Sandilands and Goldstein, big task for the latter. Sandilands knocks it down. Del Santo fell over. Mundy, Fife towards half forward, going back, showing courage was Main. Ricochets wide. This is Tipper close to the boundary line. Pushes it, looking for Ferrito. Nothing wrong with that. And a boundary throw in with 3 seconds to go. So North certainly coming back hard after a disappointing start. Clock will beat them. Sandilands, Goldstein, and it's quarter time. Friday night football from Patterson Stadium in Perth, and it's 4-4-28 to 2-4-16. Stick around. All the action back here shortly.